ever buy something, and it turns out someone else actually already owned it.
Oh, that's never happened to me.
Well, that's what happened in this case we're diving into today
I
from
can-
the Philippines. So
Oh, interesting.
get ready for some valuable lessons about due diligence. We're talking real estate, folks. High stakes.
Always high stakes with real estate.
Our main players, we've got King Industrial Corp. They're the unlucky buyer here. And AFP-RSBS, a retirement fund, believe it or not.
Okay.
They're about to learn a hard lesson
Okay.
about property transactions.
Yeah.
Oh, and we can't forget Addy, Nilo Flaviano.
Okay.
He's a lawyer, A&D, a landowner, and he is at the heart of all of this.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster already.
Back in 1995, King, they made a deal with Addy, Flaviano, for a good chunk of land, signed a transfer of rights document, paid a hefty sum.
Right.
You know, they thought they were on their way to becoming landowners. This is where things get messy.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does it get messy?
Well, you see, this case, it highlights what's called a double sale, where a seller, that's Addy, Flaviano in our case, sells the same property
Oh no.
to two different buyers.
Oh no.
It's a nightmare.
That's a nightmare scenario, especially with something as important as, land property.
Exactly. Think about it.
Yeah.
Selling the same car to two different people,
Right.
but with way higher stakes.
Yeah.
So King, they're waiting for the title to transfer to their name, right?
Mhm.
Meanwhile, the Flavianos, they decide to subdivide the land. And guess what?
What?
They sell it again,
Oh no.
this time to AFP-RSBS.
Wow. So how can someone even get away with selling the same property twice? Like, isn't there a system for this?
Well, that's what makes this case so interesting. A land title, you think it's proof of ownership, right?
Right. You would think so, yeah.
But it doesn't always tell the whole story.
Oh, okay. So, like, there could be more to it than meets the eye.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Side agreements, claims that aren't registered,
Okay.
or, like in this case, a prior sale that's not on the title yet.
So you're saying a clean title might not be so clean after all.
You got it.
That's a little worrying.
So AFP-RSBS, they probably felt pretty good about their purchase, right? No idea what they were getting themselves into.
I mean, it sounds like they have no idea, but doesn't the law protect buyers, if they believe they're part of a legitimate deal?
Well, that's where this concept of a buyer in good faith comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big part of this case. The law, it often does protect those buyers who truly believe everything is above board.
Right. Makes sense.
But, and this is important, this protection, it's not a free pass.
Okay. So the buyer can't just ignore any warning signs or red flags.
Exactly. Because in this case, there were some pretty big red flags, right?
Okay.
AFP-RSBS, they missed some stuff. We're talking phone calls from King.
Okay. So King tried to warn them.
They did. They tried to warn them about that prior sale.
Wow.
Even sent a letter.
Specifically mentioning that original transfer of rights.
And they ignored this.
It gets even more baffling, all right?
Okay.
Because Lispendens notices, they
Yeah.
appeared on the titles,
Yeah.
but AFP-RSBS
Yeah.
still went ahead and registered that second sale.
They didn't. Okay, hold on. What's a Lispendens notice? I've never even heard of that.
So a Lispendens notice, it's basically a public announcement that there's this legal dispute over a property.
So like a buyer beware.
Exactly. Big flashing buyer beware sign. I mean, seeing those notices,
Yeah.
that should have been a sign, right? To investigate further.
Yeah, for sure. That's like seeing a bridge out sign
Mhm, right.
and just stepping on the gas.
Exactly. So ignoring these warnings, not exactly good faith, right?
Yeah.
Like, not really, no. So what did the court say about all of this?
Well, the court agreed.
Okay.
Said AFP-RSBS, they had enough information, right? They knew something was wrong,
Right.
and they didn't do their due diligence. This is a big deal because it means even a title that looks squeaky clean,
Mm-hmm.
it can be challenged
Okay.
if you don't do your homework.
Wow. So what happened to King? Did they just give up?
No way.
Okay.
They took the case to court.
Good for them.
And this is where the Philippine legal system,
Yeah.
it gets interesting because in the Philippines, once a title is registered,
Right.
it's really strong evidence of ownership.
So it's hard to challenge.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
So you would think, sweet deal.
Right. You got your name on there, you're good to go.
Exactly.
But there's got to be a catch, right?
Well, the system's designed for clarity, right? To make land ownership secure. It's not meant to protect people acting in bad faith.
Okay.
The court made it clear. That protection goes out the window if you even suspect something's fishy.
That makes sense. You can't just hide behind a technicality if you're trying to pull a fast one.
So, after all that, who won?
Well, the Philippine Supreme Court, they sided with Plastic King.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Said AFP-RSBS, not an innocent purchaser. All those lis pendens notices.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were a clear warning. Should have heeded those warnings.
AFT-RSBS learned the hard way, right? Ignorance is not bliss when it comes to real estate.
You got that right. This whole case, it just goes to show how important due diligence is. Buying property, you got to do your research.
Absolutely.
AFP-RSBS, they thought they were protected, but it only goes so far.
Makes you wonder, though, what happened to their investment? I mean, did they just lose millions?
Well, the court ordered the Flavianos to pay back that purchase price.
Right.
But whether they actually got that money, that's another story.
It always comes back to the Flavianos.
It does, doesn't it? They were at the center of this whole messy double sale.
What a story. It shows, even transactions that seem simple on the surface, they can have these hidden complexities. So, what can our listeners take away from this? Whether they're buying a house or even just a used car, what should they remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is you got to understand what you're getting into. Clean title doesn't guarantee everything. Ask questions. Even if they seem like small details, those details matter.
So before you sign anything, find yourself a good lawyer, do your research, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Absolutely. Due diligence is key. Protect yourself.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into land disputes, double sales, and the crucial importance of due diligence. Remember, everyone, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to protecting what's yours. See you next time.